Hello, now I have got my 2 arms made and 2 ears. I've gone for cat, and you'll see a separate video for that, and I will do videos for the other ear variations as well. So the legs, body, head, arms are standard for all of them. Your only difference is your ears and then whatever tail you put on depending on which animal, but again we'll go over that as we go. So we're going to start on the legs now. Same process as the arms. So you might notice this little thing on my finger, a hobby row counter. So you just tap your button every time you've completed a row. I still go back and count at the very end to make sure that I've remembered to hit it each time I do a row, but quite a handy little thing to have. Right, so magic ring, and then chain 1 to lock, and then we're going to do 6 single crochets into the ring. Pull that tail to close. Remember to tap my button. There we go. And we're going to increase to 12 now, so that means putting 2 single crochets into each stitch. So front loop only to create your invisible increase, and then stitch marker, don't forget the stitch marker, pop that in there, and then under the front loop and under the back loop. If I can wiggle that with my nail. Can be a bit tricky to see. Another thing that I like to do is use my darning needle. If I can't see the stitch, I will just poke my darning needle through and just loosen up those stitches a wee bit. So that is stitch number 2, and then front loop only for the next one, and then under both to complete the increase. Sorry about that. Right, so we have got 4, so now we're increasing front loop only, both loops, front loop only, both loops, front loop only, both loops, and then one more increase, front loop only, both loops. Now we're going to carry on doing 1 single crochet into each stitch, 2 rows now, and we're going to go for 20 rows. So just under both loops as normal, yarn under method, and just work your way around. When you get to the end of this leg, so we're working the legs separately and then joining them together. So once you have done your 20 rows of leg 1, you're going to slip stitch to the next stitch and tie it off, leaving about that length of tail, because we're going to use that to sew up a little gap, but I'll show you how to do that, and I will come back and show you how we join the 2 legs together. Right, that's me got my 2 legs made, so you can see I've left a good tail on leg 1, and I'm going to hold leg 2 on the right, and what we're going to do is we're going to crochet leg 1 straight on to leg 2, and we're just going to just work in the round still with single crochets. So hold them together. You could let that leg go because you're going to be working into this one first, and we're going straight in with increases to grow the width straight away. So I go into the stitch just after the one that I slip stitched to tie off. Okay. Sorry, excuse my nose. I have a bit of a cold at the moment, so if you hear me sniffing, I do apologise and constantly try not to sneeze, but never mind. So straighten with an increase in the first one, so front loop only, and pull it through, and then under both, you can see there, and pull it through. Now I've forgotten to place my stitch marker, so I know that I need to place it, sorry, excuse me, bad nose, in the first stitch, okay, and then I've got my second one there. And then we are going to 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to do another increase on the next one. So front loop only, and then under both, and then 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3, and another increase. Sorry. So under the front loop, and then under both, and then 3 singles. 1, 2, and then your last one is going to be where you slip stitched into, so it sits just down, because this is, sorry, it's much easier to do this when the children are at school. This here is your slip stitch, so you want to drop down and into the gap where the original stitch is, and then work a single crochet in there. So that's all your stitches used up on the first leg. And now what we're going to be doing is moving straight on to the first leg, but now the second leg. You're working around the back. And the same again, we're going to increase in the first one. So you can see where we finished is here. That's where that one pulls over. So that was the last stitch made before we started joining the legs together. So now you need to go into this one, front loop only, and then both loops, and then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3, and then another increase, 1, and then under both, and then 1, 2, and 3, and then one more increase. Just get a little bit fiddly here, just kind of pinch things and move them out of the way. Front loop, both loops, and then 1, 2, and 3. And that has taken us up to 30 stitches. So the 2 legs combined made 24, and then we added in our increase, taking us to 30. So that's the first round of joining the legs together. Now if I show you on the inside, you've got a little gap here, so that's what this tail's for, to close that gap. So I would probably do another round, so I've got a little bit more to hold on to, and then with a darning needle I would just stitch back and forth and then tie off, and then just tuck the rest of that tail down inside the legs, and then that closes that up. Now we're going to do, if I can find my next bit, so that was row 1. So again, back to the stitch counter, or write it down, or use a poppet, whatever your method is. We're going to go for another 3 rows, yeah, because that would make 4, and then I'll come back on row number 5 and go over how to do the tail. Now I've worked up to round 4, building the bum. Now we're going to start round 5, and I will show you how to do the tail. So again, the tails differ per creature, but I will do videos for each to show you the different lengths. So I've got lengths for the mouse, the cat and the dog. The bunny and the bear, I just do a different stitch to give them their little short stubby tail that they've got. I mean, you don't have to put one on the bear if you don't want to, but I like to have a little something. So this is just a guide, because obviously this is my tension. Yours might sit different. So where I have finished here, I'm going to start my tail straight on the first stitch. But if when you've been crocheting, your stitches are maybe sitting to this side, work around to the other side, because you don't have a front or a back yet. You could add your tail on here. When you feel you've got to a center point that you're happy with adding a tail in there, just do that. Equally, if your stitches are further over this side, work 3 or 4 until you get to the middle and then create your tail. So yeah, this is me creating it with my tension. Everyone's maybe slightly different. This is for the arms and the pieces for the ears as well. My guide of stitches might not suit, so you'll just have to look at it and think, okay, right, these are the sides of the head, or these are the sides of the body, and these are the stitches that I need to attach them into. So what I'm going to do is single crochet into this first stitch, and then I am going to chain 21. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Just like so. So you can see the front of your chain there, you've got your little V's. What I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over, so I've got my little back bumps, and I'm going to slip stitch into these. So I'll pick up the first of the back bumps and slip stitch all the way through, and I'm just going to pick up each one as I go down. So it should be 20 slip stitches by the time I get back to the end. Doesn't matter if it isn't 20, it can be 19, it can be 18, you can make it longer if you want. But again, this is my guide of how many chains I think is a good length for a cat's tail. And it shouldn't differ, your amount of chains shouldn't differ depending on the thickness of yarn that you're using. Because your yarn's thicker, it's going to give you hopefully a tail that's in proportion to the beastie that you're making. So all the way down those back bumps, creating that slip stitch. You'll notice I haven't placed my stitch marker yet either. I'm waiting until I am back down at the bottom, and then I'll get it in place, so I don't jab my hand on the way down or risk it falling out. But I know I'm in the first stitch anyway. Obviously, if you've started your tail at a different point, your stitch marker will already be placed somewhere else in the right stitch. I think this is my back bump here. Okay, and then all I'm going to do is just go straight into the next stitch and work single crochet, and then flick the tail over and just place my stitch marker at the base of it there, work my way around. Can you tell I live by the seaside? I don't know if you can hear those seagulls in the background. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29 and 30. And that takes me back to the beginning. Take the stitch marker out so you can see clearer. And there I've got my little cat's tail crocheted into place. So when you come around again, I think I've gained an extra one somewhere. Oh no, because that's just where I finished off. Ignore me. So I will go into here and then into here, and then the tail needs to come down before I then go into the next stitch. Otherwise, I will have crocheted it onto the inside. So that's round 5 completed. That's the bum area done. So the next video I will show you how we are shaping the body to then go on to attaching the arms and building the head. Okay.